So, today, what we're going to talk about is simplifying sales success, particularly if you are a service-based business owner. Sales is the thing that can be most complicated for us, and it is in so many ways, like so much of the other parts of what we do in life, complicated mostly because we make it complicated. If you are trying to get to the point of consistent and growing sales numbers, this is like the holy grail of service-based business, right? This is what you've been fighting for, what you're trying to get to, what you're trying to get to, what you're trying to get to, and it feels like this mystery. So today, what I want to share is three really simple, really actionable, really use right now that will work for you forever kind of tips that will help you to sell more effectively, like immediately, because these are things that really change how you approach sales. Maybe they're things you hear before, they've heard before, but in a lot of cases, these are the things that we forget. These have been the things that have been most helpful for me and that are the things I go back to every time things start to feel complicated. This came up as a podcast episode because I caught myself resetting to these things and resetting my clients to these things recently. And it was like, oh, yeah, no, that's a thing I should share. So let's get started. Before we do that, two small things. First, if you're enjoying this podcast, please feel free to follow, feel free to rate, please feel free to review. And all of that helps other people find this podcast. All of that would be super helpful and wonderful because really it's here so that people get what they need. The second is that if what you're finding here is useful for you, there is way more good stuff to be found in my Facebook group. It is the same name as the podcast, Uncomplicating Business for Teachers, Helpers, and Givers. And you should come. If this is useful for you, the group is useful for you, whether you think of yourself as a teacher or not. So please just come join us. If this is what you're working on, you belong with us. Okay, so there are three tips to make sales simpler. Tip number one is to remember who exactly you are. Now that you're like, what? How is that actionable? But like literally, that's the action. The action is remembering exactly who you are. Because a lot of times when sales feels most complicated, I see this in my clients all the time. It is because we are feeling disconnected from our confidence, from our value, from our expertise. So if you give yourself a little bit of time, mostly like 5 minutes, to sit down and reconnect, like literally and intentionally reconnect to who you are, what you do, why you know what you're doing, how it works, why it's valuable, what kind of expert you are, and why it matters that they get your help. Sit down and like imagine yourself like literally plugging back into the wall that is your value and expertise into that socket. It will make a difference. Because when you are trying to sell from, oh my God, I don't know if I'm worth this. Oh my God, I don't know if I can actually help them. Oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I don't really belong. Like, how am I going to do this? If you're selling from there, it's way more complicated than selling from a, they need what I have. I know how to help them. I am the expert they need today. Super different, even just from an energy standpoint, but from like an actual doing things standpoint, because when you're actually doing things, when you're in the place of not sure, you question everything you do. Is this piece of content good enough? Do I need to rewrite it? Can I share this? Should I share this? Do I want to share this? Where should I share this? When you're feeling confident and connected and valuable and clear, you just do the things. And when you're just doing the things, it is a far easier thing to sell. That's number one. Number two is to get out of your own way and focus on them. This is a thing I do all the time. I see in my clients constantly. Sales is a lot harder when we make it about us. I know you're like, no, I'm selling, it's about them. No, are you? Because here's the thing. When we are like, oh my gosh, are they going to like it? Oh my gosh, is anybody going to say yes to it? Oh my gosh, I don't know if I said that right. I don't know. God, should I take that down? Should I, when we're doing that, that is about us. When we are doing the like, oh my gosh, I need them to say yes today, that is about us. When we are attached, when we are clinging to the result, when we are pretty sure no one's ever going to buy, that is about us, not about them, right? So it is what happens is it gets really hard to sell from there because the only person we're really thinking about is ourselves. And it's a really normal thing to be doing. Humans are self-centered creatures. However, it is a lot easier to sell if what you can do is sort of take that self-centeredness, which is natural to all humans and not wrong. I'm not saying you're doing a bad job. I'm saying you're a human because I am a human too. I do it all the time where I'm like, oh God, that was really about me. And get out of your head and into helping. So this is, are you making your decisions from scarcity, from lack, from worry? Are you making choices based on what you think people want to hear or what you know they need to hear? Are you making choices based on not bothering people, on trying to stay out of their way? Or are you making choices based on what you know you have to offer and the fact that they need it? Right? This is about giving, 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 and letting it flow. For me, the easiest way to do this is to think about somebody in my world who I know as a human being. I often pick a client, but sometimes I pick somebody in my Facebook group. I pick somebody who recently has been struggling that I know, and I think about what I can do for them in this moment. So when I catch myself in my head, which I do all the time, I think, okay, who do I want to talk to and what do I want to say that will help them right now? I just take myself out of the equation and I picture that person and I talk to them in the content, in the offer, in the email, in the video, in the networking, whatever. And actually, the other thing that I do sometimes that I forget is I go find some new people to connect to. It's like, is there a networking meeting I can go to today? Because if there is, then I can go meet some new people and think about them instead of me for a while. And that always does the trick. But if sales is really hard and feeling complicated, a lot of times it's because we have retreated into really focusing on us rather than on our people. So turn that around, catch yourself, and think about your people first. Yes, I have to keep walking myself back to this. That's okay. That's normal. And keep walking yourself back to it because it's way less complicated when you look at the person in front of you. It's like when you're in the situation, think about it. When you're in the situation doing the work with the person, it's easy because you know what you're doing. You're an expert. It's like if you drop me off in somebody else's business tomorrow and we're like, this person is having problems, go help them. I'd be like, oh, okay, let me go ask some questions. I don't have any problems. I have the confidence. I have the things. You just drop me in the place. It's like if you'd also drop me in a math classroom in middle school and said, teach them the next thing. I'd be like, all right, let me figure out what they did yesterday. And off we'd go. Because I don't question that once I'm in front of them, right? That's what I want to tap into. That's what I want you to tap into when you're stuck thinking about yourself. It's like, wait, wait, wait. If I had a person with a problem in front of me, what would I do right now? Do that. Third, this is kind of an abstract thing, but this is maybe the most helpful thing that I do on the regular basis that helps me simplify sales. I separate myself from my offer. So in a service-based business, when you are the person providing the service, sales can be hard because we feel like all the rejections of our offer is also a rejection of us. So if somebody says no to coaching, they're saying no to Sarah. And that is a really difficult thing, right? That kind of rejection is hard. And we, A, don't want to risk it, and B, don't want it to happen. And then when it does, we're like, I don't know what to do now. You are your business as a service-based business owner, but also you are not. So the way I imagine this is weird, but if you put out your hand, so if you're walking as you listen to this podcast, stick your hand out in the air. If you're just sitting at your desk, stick your hand out in the air. I imagine that my business and my offer are in the palm of my hand and that I can hand my offer to someone. Okay. When they take it or not, it's the offer, like it's like a little package in the palm of my hand. They can take that offer or not, but it's not me, right? I'm not giving myself to them. I'm giving them my offer. And to me, for me, that image, that picture allows me to say what I need to say, to do what I need to do, and know that if they reject the offer, what they're rejecting is that little package in my hand, what they're saying no to. And that doesn't mean they are rejecting me, the human, because I am not my offer. You are not your business. We are separate. Yes, I am the service provider. And yeah, if you come coach with me, you get a lot of me. But at the same time, my offer is different than my human. Okay. When you allow yourself to be separate, to know that you have an offer, and that if somebody says no to it, they aren't telling you you're a bad person. If you can separate those two out a little more intentionally, it makes selling a lot simpler. Because right now, part of what makes selling complicated is any rejection of your offer feels like a rejection of you. And that sucks. Nobody wants that. So of course it's hard to sell. Of course it's hard to invite and make the offer if you're worried that every no is going to like hurt your heart, right? If somebody says no to me, I know that they're just saying no to my offer. Maybe they like me, maybe they hate me, I don't know. But that's not the point of the conversation. The point of the conversation is coaching right for them? Is the thing right for them? Right? Do I want them to be a good fit with me, the human? Absolutely. We'll figure that out though. So for you, can you sort of build yourself a mental picture, whether it's mine or not, that helps you to extricate your offer from you, your person, so that you can make offers and talk about your offer as a person. You can talk about it, but know it is also not you. That sounds crazy, but it is one of the most helpful mental shifts I've made to allow me to sell more effectively. Because knowing that every no isn't a personal rejection made it a lot easier to hear no. Okay. So if these things are helpful, fabulous. Please come tell me about them. Please come into the group, come into my email, come to my website, whatever. Talk to me about them. If you're like, I don't know what to do with this, ask a question. Come into the Facebook group, find me on LinkedIn, do all the things. And if these are for you and you're like, oh, this really makes sense, the next thing that might be really helpful for you is selling for weirdos. Because really, if you're a service-based business owner and sales is the thing, my Selling for Weirdos course is really about this. It is built so that you can find a version of yourself in sales that feels like you, that feels connected to selling, that also isn't giving your whole soul away, but does it in a way that feels like you. It is a flexible 3-step process. It is not me ever going to tell you that you have to do it like this, because that's not how I roll. That's not how teachers work. And that's not how you work. So if you're like, oh gosh, I really do need to figure out this sales thing, and I need to figure out how to make it mine so that I can do this and not feel like I'm gross all the time. That's what the course is for. It includes one-on-one video interaction with me on a regular basis. I am going to be in it with you. You are not alone. So we'll work it out together. Come into the course. It's like the best deal you'll ever get because you get me, and it's ridiculously priced for that. I get feedback on that a lot from the powers that be, as it were. So please use the help. And if you're thinking like, oh my gosh, I need this kind of thing in my life every week, come to coaching. I'm happy to work together. I have space for you. Send a message, book a time on my calendar on my website, and let's talk. Otherwise, I'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for listening.